One, go.
Hello, hello.
Hello, BBC.
BBC.
My boy, BBC.
Today, special
Nice
topic.
Yeah. So the subject for today is laziness.
Yes.
This is episode number 10. Dude, that's amazing. No need for that. So this is the episode where we go public. We have enough material that people can see what we're about. Even though the first episodes aren't really great, our English is pretty bad. We make a lot of pauses, but we're better now.
Comparing to this one, which is...
It's amazing. Okay, so the subject for today is laziness, which is a big subject for all of us.
Quick disclaimer before that. We just think for ourselves about this subject, and now is the first time that we hear each other's thoughts on this subject. So if...
That's the format that we usually go with.
Okay.
Yeah.
But if at some point we disagree, bear with us.
Yeah, no
Okay.
problem.
Okay.
And we're willing to. We can't wait actually to receive some feedback on how this is going. We're willing to change some stuff, but our main motivation for now, let's say, is just taking a subject, dissecting it between ourselves, and thinking honestly about what it means and what impact it has on our lives. So, about laziness, I was gonna say, so I thought we are experts on laziness, the two of us. But then, kind of maybe like you're thinking right now, everybody is an expert on laziness. I think it's so deep in human nature that everyone experiences it, and it's basically the easy way to go. And maybe we should start with a definition of laziness. You were thinking of some things before we started.
I was checking the dictionary before that, and the official definition of laziness is a predisposition to do nothing, to be inactive, a lack of pleasure in working. So if you're lazy if you do almost nothing, so you have a disposition to do nothing, or you don't like to work. This is the general idea. But for me, that's not. I don't understand laziness enough, because I have follow-up questions. So let's say about inactivity. Who's inactive? Who's really not doing anything? Because if you're not working, you're doing something else. So you're not really inactive, you're inactive in the work field, right?
Okay.
So, but you can be lazy at home, you can be very productive at work, but when you come home, you don't clean after yourself, you don't do anything to help your wife, to move stuff around. I have no idea, but you can be lazy in some parts of your life, right? You don't have to be lazy at work. So then, the second question was, if being lazy is not getting pleasure from your work, is this laziness, or are you working the wrong stuff? Are you at the wrong workplace? Because if you really enjoy, driving, but you work in a desk, and you go and drive to relax when you don't have, you're not in the mood for working at your desk, maybe is that laziness, or you're working the wrong stuff? You're at the wrong workplace.
So let's take the first question. So you were asking what laziness actually is, and who says if somebody is lazy.
Sure.
And I have two ideas on this. I think first there's a personal standard. So I would say only I can say that I'm lazy, because standards are so different between different people.
True.
That you can't really judge me. I know what I'm doing. You're not around me 24/7, so you can't really say that. So the first standard is personal, and we do tend to forgive ourselves for being lazy, but at the end of the day, I think we judge ourselves pretty harshly. If a week passes, a month passes, a year passes, and we haven't really done anything that we theoretically want to do with our lives, we have the feeling of laziness. And then the second one, as a society, I think there are some standards, but it depends on who you're judging. So if you have a single friend, no wife, no kids, and he has a regular job, 9 to 5 job, and he should have the time to, I don't know, clean his house, cook some food, take care of himself physically a little bit by going to the gym. I think society says, okay, this guy should be a bit organized. His house should be pretty clean. He should have some food in his fridge. And if all of these fields are a total mess, a lot of people would agree, yeah, that's a lazy guy.
Even though he at his job is not lazy at all.
Yeah. So there are some expectations about how you should live your life in society. And if somebody
laziness can be a societal thing.
I think there is a level where society judges it, and if the same guy has a wife and 3 kids, it's much more acceptable that his house is a mess, that physically he's not that great, that he can't really cook, he orders a lot of food at home maybe, because people understand, okay, he needs to spend time with his kids, and maybe if his life is in order and everything looks great, maybe that's reason for admiration. So there's laziness, there's decent behavior, and then there's awesome behavior, where somebody who shouldn't have time for a lot of things somehow makes time.
Yeah, but let's go back to the first thing you said. It's about personal standards.
Mm-hmm.
So if I or anyone has some big dreams or objectives, is he lazy that he doesn't start on them? Let me give an example. I want to write a book, but I didn't find the time to be consistent in writing it.
Yeah.
And at some point I realized I wasn't really lazy. I had no time to squeeze enough just to be creative enough and to leave myself enough room to express myself in writing, because it's not easy to write.
Did you consider going to jail?
But what I did,
people have time there. Yeah.
But what I did was, at some point, because I had that negative feeling that I'm somehow lazy or I'm procrastinating on this, I said, okay, is it realistic that I will be able to write this book or start writing this book now? And at some point I said no. So I postponed it for, I have no idea when I'll start writing it. So the problem wasn't me being lazy, was me having too great of an objective. My objective wasn't realistic. You know, remember when we said about objectives, smart.
Yeah.
It wasn't R, the R in realistic. Okay, what is my life now? I have to do this. Can I cut something off to put 2 hours a day for this, or 1 hour a day? Okay, no. So why is this still an objective? So
yeah, you can judge yourself or beat yourself up, is another way to put it, over something that you aren't really gonna do. it reminded me of a video that I saw yesterday by, I don't know if you know about Mel Robbins. She's a 50-year-old woman with a lot of energy who has a radio show and helps people navigate life. But she's really charismatic. I just discovered her yesterday. And she was saying, I've always wanted to have a six-pack, and I never had one. And considering my love for alcohol and the fact that I don't like exercising a lot, I have a big problem. And she said, okay, I imagined my life a year from now with a six-pack, and then I looked back. I've heard of this concept before. You reverse engineer your life, so you realize what you need to do today. And she said, okay, what would a regular day for me look like in order to have a six-pack in a year? And she said, "Whoa, I really don't want that." And then when I realized that, I let it go. I said, okay, I'm not willing to do the daily things that I need to do in order to be there in 1 year. So then I stopped beating myself up because I'm not gonna do that. And in the same way, maybe it's for you, because you can say, okay, I'm not gonna ignore my kids and my wife in order to write a book in a year. I look at my life there with a book, but farther away from my children, and I say, no, I'm not willing to do that.
Sure.
So I can stop beating myself up about it, because it's not something that I'm willing to do.
Yeah, but society treats you badly when this thing that you are willing to let go, it's something that they value.
Okay.
Like, if you say, okay, I'm not going to go to the gym, they'll still call you a fat ass. Even though you say, okay, I'm willing to accept that. Or if you... I think it's about priorities. Setting them, it's hard to say correctly, or in a way that you would think that is aligned with your standards, and sometimes with your neighborhood or the society's standards.
So you're say that again. So setting goals, so they align
priorities,
so they align with society standards
and your own standards. Let me give an example. Let's think about the day. Okay, when do you wake up? When do you go to sleep? About 14, 16 hours when you're awake. What's the most important thing you can do with your hours? Because you can say, I can spend them with my kids. That's the most important. I can spend them with my wife. That's the most important thing. I can spend them helping others. Yeah, but you're not. 8, if you commute 10 hours a day, you're at work.
Yeah.
So most of the day, you go and produce money.
Yeah.
So it helps if that work fulfills you and gives you energy, and you have bad days, but you have, most of them are good days. Okay, so those 10 hours are out of the picture. So the remaining 6 hours or 5 hours is what defines your priorities, because that is a priority. You have to go to work.
Yeah.
Even though you say my family is important, I have to support my family by going to work. Yeah. So you have 6 hours. What do I spend those hours on? Okay, family, friends, helping others, cleaning myself, going to exercise to have a good body. Okay, relaxing. Yeah. Because if you don't put that in those 6 hours, and you fill your 6 hours with activities, at some point you will be lazy. You will take some activities and not do, just so you would relax because you're too tired, or some things come up. You find someone calls you, let's watch a movie. If your program or schedule is stuck, it's filled with activities, at some point you will have to make a decision to be lazy and go watch a movie, because you don't have room. you don't. You're not
keeps you
flexible.
balanced. Let's
Yes.
say, yeah. But also goals. At first, I agree that they should be realistic, but in itself, a goal is something or should be something unrealistic, something that pushes you to reach a point where you don't really think you can reach, but that pushes you to grow.
Give me an example, because I don't follow. What goal is unrealistic, and being a good goal?
Well, for me, I don't know, starting a business is kind of unrealistic when I think about what that would mean. Like managing people where I don't have management experience, getting contracts, negotiating, a lot of things that I didn't do before. It's still an idea that I have and I would like to do. It's not gonna happen because I'm not doing anything about it. But
You like being an employee, right?
yeah, for now I do, but it's something that I want to do someday. So that would
So
be kind of
That's
unrealistic.
unrealistic. And I disagree.
In that
Because-
I'm not qualified for it. Maybe.
Yeah, but you can do it. It's not unrealistic.
Yeah.
Because something that's unrealistic is having a $1 million business next year. That's unrealistic
Yeah.
because you don't even have the idea for that business. So
But that could also happen.
yeah, but it's not realistic. It's
Yeah.
far-fetched. So
Yeah.
this is what an realistic objective means. It's something that if you put the effort, that's the logical result without a stretch. So let me give you an example. If you go to the gym, is it a realistic objective if you go daily or 3 times a week to have, I don't know, to run 10 kilometers in, I don't know, 6 weeks or 6 months to be able to run for 10 kilometers. If you go 3 times a day, 3 times a week, and you run and you increase the distance you run.
I would say that it's possible, but considering the fact that I never run now and I never do anything physical every day, it's pretty unrealistic to say that I'm gonna actually do that.
Yeah, but no. Realistic means if you put the work, if you put the effort,
It's gonna happen.
is the result likely to happen? And in this example, yes. I never like to run, but when I go to the gym, I run for 1 kilometer, then 1.5, then 2 kilometers, and it's in a couple of weeks you can increase that. So 10 in 6 months, if you increase with a small margin every week, it's doable, and that is the realistic part.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, it's not something that I would do or I can do with my current situation, but if I put the work in, is it likely to happen? And the answer is yes. That's the same with your business. Okay, do I have an idea? Am I willing to put the work? If I make a plan, okay, what do I want to work on? How do I want to work? Is it realistic in a year to have a business? Yes, it's not unrealistic. It's realistic.
Yeah, I get your point, and it makes sense. And I'm not really. It's still my point. Also, still makes sense to me in that for a person who never sets goals, a 1 year goal that implies doing something every day is pretty unrealistic. So I'm saying the result might be possible, but the choices, making those discipline choices every day, so the process is not really realistic.
Okay, let's come
which
back.
is why you should maybe say, okay, I'm not gonna set a goal for a business in 1 year. I'm gonna set a goal in 1 month. I'm gonna write down my idea, meet with a friend who has a business and write down a plan, and then write down locations where I could do it. So
Okay,
that's maybe.
so let's come back to your example. That's excellent because you said if I make a 1 year plan and I have to do something every day, it's unrealistic that I would actually do that.
Yeah.
So if you now, when you set the plan and you say, okay, I won't be able to do this every day. Okay, that's an unrealistic plan. Your objective has to be realistic. So you say, okay, what am I willing to do, and realistically think, am I able to do it every day? No. Okay, so let's pick a realistic goal. I will have to do in a month to do this, or okay, I'll have to go to the gym 2 times a week. Is it realistic? Way more realistic than every day.
Yeah.
So okay, let's start it with some, because if this is going back to the objective podcast. If I set my goal that I would go to the gym every day for 6 months, it's way and I'm not really going to do that. The streak, you're talking about the streak.
Yeah. Consecutive days.
Yes, you will break it in 1 or 2 weeks.
Okay.
Because something will happen. So what happens to you? You say, okay, I just failed my objective. Because my objective was too ambitious.
And then you quit everything.
Or you quit everything, or you don't stick to the plan. But if you say, okay, I'll go twice a week. Twice a week for 6 months. Is it realistic? Quite yes. Okay, next week I'll be leaving in a business trip. So I won't be able to go to the gym. Okay, I will go 3 times this week and 3 times the next week. So I'll still be in the parameters. Okay, so you can manage it.
Okay.
So it's not that stretched.
Yeah, but it's on one hand I agree, but it may be a good idea to set the unrealistic goal. And
Why?
maybe after that we should get back to laziness. But
Why?
this is about
Why?
laziness.
I don't understand why you should set an unrealistic goal.
So
Just so you would fail it?
no, but you're right. If you set a goal of going every day for 6 months,
Yes.
and you don't go every day, in the first 2 weeks you break the streak, you have a really strong temptation to quit everything and just let it be. On the other hand, if you set a goal of twice a week for 6 months, that's realistic. But if you break that, that might be worse. In that it wasn't that ambitious, and I get it if you don't agree, but I think it's different reactions that people can have.
Then if you're not able, if it's not realistic twice a week, make it once a week. Why make something that
I don't know if that pushes you enough. So if you fail that of twice
if you're
a
not
week,
able to go twice a week, why set if you're not able, if it pushes you so far that you're not able to do it twice a week, why set an objective to do it daily? If you
you shouldn't.
if you're not able to do it twice a week.
You shouldn't. I get it.
Okay, sorry.
But
my point exactly.
I'm saying that if you have a strong enough reason to do it, maybe not being very ambitious, like saying I'm gonna go twice a week or once a week, maybe that's not gonna drive you enough to actually implement it in your life.
The realistic part of the objective is, okay, I have the drive, do I have the time and the means to do that? So let's change this. If I say I want, my objective is to write a book in a year, right? Okay, 300 pages, 365 pages book, so it'd be easier to calculate. If my objective is write 1 page every day, but sometimes I have days that I cannot dedicate 1 hour because to write a page is not 1 hour, it's 2 hours. But let's, for the sake of the argument or the example, let's say that you take 1 hour for 1 page. But if you realize from the get-go that I don't have 1 hour every single day for the next year, why put in this objective just hoping that I from the start I have I know that I can push myself for 2 hours a day. No, I cannot do that. If I can do that, why don't I put 2 years?
No, that's. I'm saying
So it's realistic.
You can do that, and it's a strategy that might work for some people. I'm saying that when I think about myself and I filter it through the way I think, I'm more likely to fail when I'm not really focused on something every day. So when I wake up, you said why. So when I wake up in the morning, this year,
that's a
every
different
day.
discussion.
No, it's kind of,
Give me an example of one objective that you had that was unrealistic and you achieved in your life.
well, that's the point.
You don't have any. Because
Yeah.
all of them were realistic. Otherwise, if they were unrealistic, you wouldn't be able to achieve them.
I maybe when I think about it, I didn't really have unrealistic goals, but I'm thinking maybe I should.
Why?
Because they could drive me to a place that I didn't really consider before. So they could make me better in a way.
Give me an example, because I don't follow.
Well, maybe your example of writing the book.
Yes.
If I set a goal to write a book next year and write a page a day, then every morning that I wake up, I can look at, okay, what are my current streaks?
Yes.
I'm reading every day. Okay, in this day I'm gonna read. In this day I'm gonna do some language exercises maybe, and in this day I'm gonna write a page for my book. And that's your mindset every day. You never wake up and say, okay, today I'm free of my streaks. I'm free of my goals today.
So you say that if you set your objective to write every day this one page, and you are motivated enough, you can do it, right?
Yeah.
So this is a realistic objective. Because if you
It
can
might
do
be,
it,
yeah.
if you can do
You're
it,
the kind of person who set it right.
No, if you can do it, then it's realistic. The problem is when you know from the start that you can't do it. That's the problem.
Can you know that?
Most of the times, yes.
Okay.
If you think about it enough, and because if it's some of them are at the age you can really know. This one to write a book page every day. Is it realistic or not? I have no idea. So it's not really something that it's really easy to assess. But some of them are. If you say I'm going to write three pages a day for a year, then maybe you can be a full-time writer. You can write 5 pages a day. So this is a realistic objective. But if you have a normal job, kids, and other activities, then 3 pages a day I can say for myself that is not realistic. I won't be able to do it, so I won't set that objective. So I know I would fail from the start. Let's go back to laziness.
No, that makes sense. That's a good point, and I think that's the way some people work. And yeah, we have 1 minute left,
No.
but that's okay. I like this.
I wanted to say about the laziness thing. If you work something that you don't enjoy, but at some point you enjoy, let's say you enjoy playing computer games. You might be seen as a lazy person by everyone else because you spend 4 hours a day playing computer games.
You have 30 seconds.
But if you go and become a streamer and you get money from that is your job. So at that point, are you lazy when you're not playing games?
I think it goes back to the personal thing. So if you have a plan to become financially independent by streaming, then you're not being lazy, you're building something, and it doesn't make sense for me to judge you right now without knowing your long-term plan, right?
Yes.
Um,
And yet people do that.
But if I I want to start a business and spend time with my family and I play video games instead, then according to my own standard, I probably am lazy. But I'm the only one who could say it.
True.
I'm the only one who could judge
Yeah,
it.
this makes sense.
Okay.
If you don't set an objective, let it be. If you don't set that objective, but you still do it, because I find myself doing that. I'm tired, and instead of going to sleep, or because I'm too tired to do anything productive, I end up 1 hour, 2 hours wasting time. So that's me being lazy, more or less, or being unaware that I'm wasting time instead of doing something productive like sleeping.
Oh yeah, productive in that way because it gives you energy the next day.
Yeah, I really need it. So
I should check if we're still filming. Yeah, it's okay. Okay, but we should wrap it up because
don't be lazy. That's
the film could be done at any minute. So okay, this is another subject that we can come back to because it's a really long one, and we went on the road of goals.
Can I say something?
Setting goals.
One more thing. People like to judge other lazy people, but
To feel better about themselves, maybe.
yes, probably. But most of the people like being lazy in their own way. Like
Okay.
people like. Let me give you an example. People like having enough money so they would have someone to clean their house, or go to the restaurant and eat, aka not clean, not cook. And it's not considered a laziness thing, it's considered a lifestyle thing. But if you can afford outsourcing the things that you don't like, sometimes if you're poor, this is laziness. But if you have enough money and you outsource them, it's considered investing your time efficiently. Why should I be the one who cleans my house for 3 hours when I can pay someone and I can rest and spend time with my family, while someone else does it because me and my work hours I make enough so I can pay someone else to do the things that I don't like doing. So sometimes being lazy is not. It's a weird thing. You can be lazy if you pay someone else to do it, and you're not really judged. But sometimes you are. Some women are judged that they have someone to help them with the house and the kids.
That's something that could be interpreted differently because I don't know if I would call somebody who has a house cleaner lazy because maybe they're nothing happened again. So I was saying that I don't know if I would exactly call someone who has a person clean their house lazy because maybe they have a project that's more important for their family, for their community, for society maybe. But at the same time, it depends on their motivation. Why are they doing that? And they might make some time to be lazy. I mean, if you don't clean your house, you play computer games, your goal was to do something else, maybe write a book. So they could be lazy in the end, but it's again not my place to judge.
Yeah, but according to the definition, they are lazy because they don't want to work, that kind of work. They tend to be inactive in that field. So that's why I'm saying that I'm not really sure I completely understand this concept of laziness, because sometimes from a personal point of view you say, okay, I don't want to cook, so I'll order a pizza or something. I don't know, I'll order something to eat. Am I being lazy? If I play computer games, people might say, okay, yes you are, or if you watch a movie. But if I say, okay, I worked enough for the day, and I want to relax, watch a movie or stay with my kids. Then people tend to be more flexible. They say, okay, you worked, now you gotta relax. So sometimes it's about how you present it to the people. You and yourself, you have to be okay with it, and from the society's point of view, it's how you present it.
Yeah, it's about context sometimes.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but I don't know. The thing that I'm getting from your examples is maybe you worry too much about how other people would characterize what you do, or in these hypothetical examples, what the people in them do.
Yeah, because
But it's only important. I mean, the most important thing, maybe that's not the only thing that's important, but the most important thing is how you judge yourself. And I say that because the way that I judge myself is a lot harsher than how other people judge me. And maybe it's because I realize that, I don't know, life is short. There's no reason to ever be lazy, in my opinion. So anytime I set up to do something and I don't do that thing, and I choose an easy thing like watching a TV series or playing some games or something like that, then I'm disappointed in myself and I say that I'm lazy. Even we're talking about this podcast. We've been talking about it for a couple of years probably, and there were a lot of moments when we said, okay, we should start it, but we didn't set a date, we weren't clear.
Yeah.
And when we finally started, we said, okay, next week on this day, we'll meet and do something. If we're not good at it, we're gonna get better. But I would say, according to my standards, that maybe I wouldn't say that we were lazy. I would say that I was lazy in going with my point. I'm gonna judge myself. Did I do everything possible in order to make this happen? No. I let time go by and didn't really do anything. So I liked complaining, but I didn't want to do anything about it, and I was lazy.
Yeah, think about it. My first thought when you said that you should judge yourself, I was thinking, think about all the people in the world that say, that the government doesn't do enough for us.
Yeah.
That we are in this situation because of others. And partially that is true, but we're not here to fix that. I'm here to fix myself.
Yeah.
To improve myself. So when you put it like this, yeah, I am lazy. I do like playing video games or watching streamers or watching TV series when I know I should be doing anything else. Not really anything else, but something that I really enjoy doing, and I want to get it done. But because something in my head says you're tired, that thing doesn't yell loud enough, so I go to sleep. It yells just enough so I wouldn't work or do something productive, and it says, stay here and watch this for an hour and a half.
You deserve it.
You deserve it. Yeah, you worked today, so it's okay.
I would maybe from listening to podcasts on people going to war and people not having enough food and going through the worst conditions possible, and then I look at my life, I realistically say, I don't know what hunger is, I don't know what thirst is, I don't know what being tired means, and I basically have no reason to complain about anything ever, realistically, and with taking ownership of my life. So that I would finish on that. I keep going back to Joko's motto, let's say, which is discipline equals freedom. And I understand that freedom in a way that, so it's not freedom from visible chains, it's freedom from laziness basically, and what that means is freedom from the things that are easy that my instinct says that I should do all the time, but that I don't really want to do, that are gonna make me lose self-respect, are gonna make me disappointed in myself. And the only way to be free is to bully myself, parent myself, hold my own standards and say no to the things that I don't really want to do. Yeah. Okay, this was a lot. Yeah.
Thanks for the 10th episode. So
Yeah, we're good.
this is fun.
We're gonna keep doing this on a weekly basis, and we welcome input if we find it worthy. We're gonna.
Should we make a contest, something like this? No.
Should we?
Make a contest.
Oh, we could if you have some ideas.
No, I just came up with
Okay.
Next week we'll have a contest. Probably.
Okay. Okay. Have a
See
good
you.
day and see you next time.